WION and I have run off to Himachal Pradesh to escape the North Indian summer. While the rest of the tourist juggernaut rolls on to Manali, we've spent a few days traipsing about in Nagar, a small town in Kulu Valley. The hills around Nagar are dotted with the prettiest little villages, and we are heading to Rumsu, one of the oldest hamlets in the region.
If it wasn't for the popular trek to Chandrakhani Pass, Rumsu would have probably been like other villages in the region that are virtually unknown to outsiders. The recognition that it's received, though, has been good for not only the village, but for the entire region. That's because Rumsu still has a fantastic collection of traditional Himachali houses, most of which were built 2 to 3 centuries back. Most are still inhabited, while others serve as storehouses. The villagers, used to curious visitors, are unperturbed by outsiders and go about their daily routines paying no heed to us. And that makes Rumsu a spectacular place to get an insight into life at a traditional Himachali village that hasn't really changed in ages.
Wow, look at this village, yeah. Just look at this place.
Double tiered. You think this is a temple or?
I think this is a temple.
I think this one is a temple.
Psychedelic, it says. Psychedelic. No, that is a temple, you're right. We've come here because this is one of the oldest villages in the region and still has a bunch of these really old houses which are frankly disappearing now.
Right.
And I found this bloke who's studied architecture, works in the region, and he said that this village was one of the finest, has some of the finest examples, surviving examples of this kind of architecture.
Right.
Oh, that's
Hello.
Hey.
Rahul Bhushan. Yes, I remember that. Mr. Bhushan. I was just telling Yuan that's kind of selfish. Rahul Bhushan studied architecture and set up North, an organization that he says is focused on sustainable development. Till recently, he ran art residencies and workshops in Nagar. Now he works with local artisans to promote arts and crafts in Rumsu and other villages of the region. He's an expert on Katkuni, the traditional architecture of Himachal that is exhibited beautifully in the houses at Rumsu. I was just telling Johan about Katkuni and how it works and things like that, but I figured you'd be a better guy to tell him. He was saying that, what were you saying, Johan?
Well, I was looking at the wood here because in this one, on the first few levels, there's only stone.
So this is basically just a temporary structure. It's not a real, let's say in the sense, Katkuni house which was made for him. It was made like a shed.
Okay.
So that's why it's a little, less of wood. And also wood depends upon the economic level of the construction.
Right, okay.
So if it's a temple,
then no holds barred.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if it is a shed or if it's just a house of somebody who's not economically that well, so he'll use less amount of wood.
Okay, all right.
Also the sizes of wood can vary.
Well, coming across these kind of logs must be really difficult. I mean, these are huge.
Yes. So it's lots of hard work. They go up in the forest and usually like when this was built, imagine it was no roads, it was somewhere in the forest. They used to choose this tree. And then they cut it there itself with all the manual tools.
I mean, can you imagine this village 500 years back? It already, it's still remote.
Yeah.
Should we walk through the village? Show us around,
of course, please.
The old houses in Rumsu look like ancient leviathans towering over the valley that spreads below. In spite of their visible age, they show no signs of dereliction. The fact that so many people in Rumsu are confident of their structural integrity is a testament to their longevity. Rumsu's inhabitants are almost as fascinating as the houses they inhabit. The older folk have grizzled faces with deeply etched lines, as you'll find in mountain people who are exposed to decades of harsh sunlight. But all of them, from the oldest men to the ladies to the young children, radiate a sense of well-being that reflects the hardy yet healthy lifestyle they lead in the village. God, this temple is just gorgeous. Eh? Look, like wind chimes, ancient wind chimes. Well, they are like wind chimes. They like rattle in the wind. Look at this one. Yeah, this was like really old, huh?
Yeah, this must be around like 200 years old, maybe.
अंकल नमस्कार, ये होगा कितना पुराना होगा ये घर? कितना पुराना होगा घर? ये तो 300 साल होगा है? कोई नहीं रहता यहाँ पे अब? यहाँ कोई नहीं रहता?
हाँ, but still used for greenery purposes.
अच्छा, for grain, अच्छा, दानों वाने रखने के लिए?
उसके लिए है.
रखने के लिए सामान.
अच्छा.
रखने के लिए
डंगरे वगैरह. Can we have a look inside?
Yeah.
We can?
Yeah, come on.
I don't know if you're going to fit in there, Johan.
Yeah, so see, these are the local old doors. I'll show you. Really heavy door panels.
The whole door is made without a hinge.
Yeah. So it's just one hinge and like really big plank of wood. And so this is like one tree block, like the whole beam cut out from one tree trunk.
Wow.
And it's almost like 18 inches. And like these are like really hard. And the idea is to like these are earthquake resistant techniques for Katkuni. So what they do is wherever they make the voids, they have to like really fit in with like lots of wood. Because these
Wherever there's a void.
so wherever there's just like the like doors are the void and windows are the voids, so they fit in with like huge amount of wood.
Kind of frame around the wall.
Frames, so like it's really strong because it has like the whole weight of the wall coming down. These are load bearing structures.
Oh, so these are the load bearing structures of the house.
Yeah.
Dude, are you sure there are no like bats in there?
No. Sure, come in.
Wow, Johan, I don't think you'll fit in here. Watch your head.
So how much? This would be almost like 5.5 feet.
So this is for cattle, is it? Or is that for cattle?
So that is for the kettles.
Okay, this room is for cattle. And the cattle used to be on the lowest level.
Yeah, so this is the ground floor. And here are all the kettles and cows.
Okay.
And basically the first floor is for the storage of the grains.
Acha.
Yeah, so let's move up. These are like these small stairs.
So tell me something, what's the logic of having cattle at the bottom?
Yeah, so basically you see like they have lots of heat which comes out from these kettles, and it eventually heats up the upper floors.
Okay.
And
okay,
also it's easy for the kettles to be here inside.
In and out, okay.
Yeah.
In and out, okay. Wow, look at that.
So when, like if you see all the earlier Katkuni houses, like the very early Katkuni houses, they were just one story. And like people used to live in, but then they eventually figured out that kettles also need to come in the winters. So they made like first for the kettles, the ground floor, and then
good idea for a winter solution there.
Yeah, so this house is basically made to fight against winters. Yeah, this is a full-fledged, let's say, thousands years of, development of this idea. Yeah, watch your head.
Yeah, watching it. Okay, so this is the first floor which you said is for the grain.
Yeah, so this one is for the grains, also for bee harvesting. So.
Bee harvesting. Watch your step, Johan. How are you doing?
Yeah.
Bit crouched up.
Sit down, much easier.
Oh, see, this is the wool. I don't know, like it's very less light over here, but yeah. See this one. Yeah, this is sheep, but very raw sheep wool.
Oh, you want to make a blanket for yourself? Okay, that's what this.
And that's for the bees.
Oh,
basically this one, yeah. So you see that small hole over there?
Yeah.
So the mother bee, the queen bee, she comes from in there. Here's a door, kind of latch, and then they leave it for like she makes her own nest inside, and like she lives there. Like there's a full closing, and then when they have to take out, they just remove it, take it out, close it back again.
Wow, that's ingenious. Yeah, beehive in the house. That's so
yeah,
cool.
all the old houses I've noticed used to have these bees.
Yeah.
That's
so you don't need to go outside, in winters.
Can we find a floor where the Johan can stand?
Maybe this one.
So this is for people, this one?
So yeah, now this one is for living.
For living, eh?
Yeah.
Okay then. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so here you have got some space.
So we know that on the second floor of a Katkuni house, the ceiling was approximately 6 feet 8 inches.
Yeah.
And I just know that by looking at it.
Yeah.
I just know that by looking at it.
It's like a little hole where I can have my head.
Yeah, the nails up there. Eh? Oh yeah.
So this attic is also a really important part of the house.
This or the one up there?
The up one up there. So it's basically for the devta, the local deity.
Oh, okay.
And also for cooking. Like so half of this would be for the kitchen.
I see.
And they make food, but they don't eat food over there.
Okay.
And then they'll come down and half of the place would be for the devta.
For the
local deity.
Local deity, okay.
Half of a floor.
Yeah, the attic.
Wow. Look at this place, huh?
Rahul says that given how much wood is required to construct Katkuni houses, the technique is now confined only to temples. Naturally, artisans trained in Katkuni and the wood carving that it involves are now hard to find. We are going to meet Satish, who, like his father before him, is one of the remaining few.
Satish Kumar is an artisan who still works with wood, etching and carving blocks of wood to be used in columns and other parts of Katkuni houses. He's one of the few people left skilled in the technique. Katkuni in its traditional form used unviable quantities of wood and is now used only for constructing temples. It's a family trade for Satish. His father was entrusted with the restoration of Nagar Castle.
Only two tools are required, a hammer and a chisel.
So he's basically made like a square shaped cavity.
Groove, yeah. Void, yeah.
Oh, and he's also made this.
That's the secret.
So like somewhere, like in Kinnaur region, they call it Toko Manu.
Toko Manu?
Yeah.
This is a Toko Manu?
Yeah, Toko Manu joint.
Toko Manu joint.
Yeah. Kila. Yeah,
Kila,
yeah.
acha.
Here, this is called Kila, and then there is one thing which holds these two beams together. It's kind of like a bow, like this one. Yeah, like this one here. It doesn't have it. So like you'll cut a groove like this here, cut a groove over here, and then you'll fix up like a wood like this.
Oh, okay,
You know?
like
Then it
that.
can't
Yeah.
go out at all.
So it basically ties it together like a claw.
Yeah.
So it's called mokda. Like yeah.
So
Mokdi.
it's this and laterally it's like that.
Yeah. So along the length, these are the things which hold them
Like
together.
like a missing piece like
Of the puzzle, yeah.
Crack and
Yeah.
then sorted, huh?
Yeah, Lego kind
But
of.
it's a lot of work to do this for everything. Much easier to put a brick on a brick and put concrete in a middle.
Yeah.
Or mortar. Eh? This is a lot of work.
Lot of work. But imagine like this technique has been evolved in that times when there were no roads over here. So people were really dependent upon the local available materials, which was wood and stone.
Yeah.
But now things have to change a little. Now we really can't continue this one.
Well, I mean, you can't have so much wood first.
Yeah, for sure. It takes a lot of time.
But surely this technique
Technique.
this
Yeah.
technique can be
Yeah.
used with different materials.
Exactly. So that's a thing which we want to also research right now. So now this becomes the main joint, like
Right.
this is like really strong and it has a little bit of flexibility.
Yeah.
So it works for the earthquake. It holds
So
the
if there's
whole
an earthquake,
structure.
it can like
Yeah.
move around
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit.
exactly.
Wow.
And the stones just kind of like just
Give the weight, so it rests. And like stones are also without mortar.
right.
So like if there is a push of energy, like it dissipates very quickly.
Right.
So that's also one of the big reasons. Like
also, I would think if there is like seismic activity, the wall
Yeah.
actually gets stronger then.
stronger, you can say it
भूकंप में तो और भी बैठ के वो सॉलिड हो जाता होगा नहीं?
हाँ जी काटकोनी होता है यही सिस्टम ना
है ना?
भूकंप में फर्क नहीं पड़ता मतलब
फर्क नहीं पड़ता। अच्छा, फर्क तो नहीं पड़ता।
हाँ जी
आते हैं भूकंप इधर बहुत।
नीचे उतनी ज्यादा नहीं आता ना लेकिन हल्का हल्का आता है ना
हम्म।
लेकिन फिर देखा है ना पहले से ही कि नहीं कभी भी हो सकता है ना
कभी हो
भूकंप
सकता है।
पहले से ही रहता है सिस्टम में कि
And just the fact that they thought of it long back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in like 1905, when there was this big earthquake in northern region, so all these Katkuni houses survived that.
Right.
Oh, there was a big
Yeah,
one.
like
right?
Nagar Castle survived.
Yeah.
Oh, Nagar
Yeah.
Castle survived,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So it's huge.
And
It's
it was,
massive.
And it was a big earthquake, wasn't
Yeah, it was in 1905. It was a really big earthquake. Like in Kangra, it was mainly in Kangra region.
it? Right.
So like Kangra was very
Wiped out.
wiped out. But like most of the villages over here still have those old houses.
Oh, because they
Yeah,
didn't go down.
yeah.
Wow.
That was that's
cool.
a good proof. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there are so many researches which have happened earlier on the seismic properties of
Yeah.
this. Quite impressive.
तो अभी भी लोग बनवाते हैं घर ऐसे आपसे?
सर अभी बनाते हैं ना लेकिन बहुत कम बनाते हैं ना तो लकड़ी का प्रॉब्लम हो गया ना
लकड़ी का problem-
कंक्रीट का ही बना रहे हैं लगभग बहुत कम बन रहे हैं मतलब ऐसे घर
There's something undeniably dreamlike about this village. Even the way its name, Rumsu, rolls off the tongue, carries a wisp of mystery, romance, history. The houses look like living relics that have consciousness and which have seen generations of humans come and go. Villagers still drape themselves in traditional shawls that are woven on looms older than they can remember, and believe absolutely that wild mares still run free on the slopes near Chandrakhani Pass. In this magical place of wood and straw and cooking fires, the universe shuffles and then just slides together. Russell Collins first came to India as a traveller many years back and fell in love with the Himalayas. Keen to explore far-flung regions, he travelled the length and breadth of the country in a mobile home, going where his fancy took him. Deeply affected by the deforestation he saw in various climate change-related changes, he was inspired to develop the Himalayan rocket stove project. On first hearing about the rocket stove and open source technology, he set out to find a way to adapt this to the Himalayan context, which he managed to do after several years of design, development and prototyping.
Today we're going up to Karungla, 5,500 meters to do a burn test, and we got the boys fully loaded. We got 2 rocket stoves here in the back, one Rajasthani, one Ladakhi, one Aussie, and let's see if we can make a cup of chai on top of the mountain.
In the process, he also came up with a way of making smokeless cook stoves at minimal cost while experimenting with the Himalayan rocket stove in Ladakh.
Making coffee using the Himalayan rocket stove, and we've got our coffee brewing, we've got our vortexing, water is boiling, and Chozzy is fixing the flat tire. And both the stoves are running smokeless.
Based in Australia and working in India, he juggles his life between the two countries. Tenzin, who is from Hamta village, has been working with Russell for many years now. Jule. Acha. I'm just going to get dragged. Acha. Acha,
Jule, namaste.
Acha. Russell, this is one of your stoves, is it?
Yeah, so what we've got here, we've got the traditional chula on the left, and what they used to have was another traditional chula, a smaller one, which was all crumbling apart. So we were here, we were making the donuts, and we thought, okay, let's go and install one of our smokeless chulas, smoke reduced. So we took out all of the old clay and rocks, and then we put in our clay donuts. And I'll show you later what I mean by clay donuts. So basically, it's built up with these clay rings, which are mixed with biomass and grass. And the grass holds it all together, makes it strong. And the biomass, like sawdust or sometimes we use puffed rice. And that gives little pockets of something that'll burn out. So we put it together, we fire it up, and it takes a few days to a week of firing, and it burns out all these little bits of biomass, and then you end up with little pockets of air, let's say, in the clay, and that makes the clay tubes insulating. And an insulated tube is the secret of a rocket stove because it makes the fire hotter. The heat can't get away, so it's trapped, and trapped heat just gets hotter, and you throw in enough oxygen, and then the heat gets over a certain point where the smoke itself will burn. And it's really that simple. It's just heat plus oxygen burns the smoke. And smoke itself is mostly hydrocarbons.
It must be a reasonably simple contraption to put together if you just sort of,
It is. The essence of it is very simple. It's just, it's basically a dual combustion chamber. And so that we get 2 benefits. Number one, of course, by burning the smoke, we're reducing the pollution by a significant amount. But the second benefit is that smoke itself is a fuel. So we're releasing energy, so we actually get double the heat for the same amount of wood. So it becomes more efficient. So it's really a win-win all the way around.
क्या बन रहा है उस पे? अब बन रही है तो पी लेंगे, बन रही है तो पी लेंगे. Tenzin's home in Hamta serves as a makeshift workshop where different variants of the stoves are built and tested. The basic rocket stove is very cheap to make and can be constructed using earth and biomass and other materials easily available in villages. Russell has also built a larger steel variant for use in bigger homes and even commercial establishments. Recognizing the work done by the Smokeless Cook Stove Foundation, an NGO that focuses on using locally available materials to create smoke-reduced cooking appliances for people vulnerable to household air pollution, Russell was invited to give a TED Talk at IIM Ranchi on the concept and its wide-ranging applications.
Smoke inside the house is the issue that's killing people. So, remember that figure, there's 4 million people globally dying from household air pollution, 1 million of those in India. And I could see, right here, I just made a clean-burning, smokeless fuel stove for less than 50 rupees.
Russell's stoves are really quite extraordinary. Even though it's hard for city slickers like us to fully grasp the utility of something like this, it's obvious that these stoves use significantly less fuel and pollute much less. Plus, they also heat the house during winter, which is a crucial aspect of life in Himalayan villages.
Okay, so
Hello, there you are.
yeah, hi guys.
We've been
admiring
your inventions.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So this is our manufactured product, which is aimed at heating the homes in the Himalayas.
Oh, right.
Exactly. So it's designed to replace a traditional bukhari. So it still has a pipe, and if you have a bukhari, you have a pipe.
Correct.
Right. So that's all the same. You even put wood in the front, just like a normal bukhari.
Right.
Right. So it's meant to look and feel similar to a traditional bukhari.
But
That's
it's
the
using
idea.
this rocket stove technology.
Inside the box, we've kind of cleverly miniaturized the rocket stove technology so that we can kind of shrink it all in and compact it all, and so we still get that really high efficiency inside there.
Right.
But because of the heaviness of the steel, you don't have this kind of hot on front, cold on the back effect. You actually have the whole room is warm. Even like in Tenzin's home, I came up in January, middle of winter, super cold. You walk into the room and people are just like taking off their jackets, down to t-shirts, sitting at the back corner of the room. Not right at, normally you could walk into a house and they're like huddled over the fire. So it's really a different quality of heat. Yeah.
So these come in only this model? You're at different sizes depending on how big the place is?
We've released this size last winter, so we sold 200 of these over the last winter. This is what we call the Eco 1, and now we're releasing an Eco 2 and an Eco 3, and each one is the same footprint but taller. The Eco 3 being more of a kind of a commercial kitchen size or a guest house size.
Right. Do you have those anywhere around here?
Well, actually, there's a cafe just downtown where they've got an Eco 3. And we could just go down there and have a coffee.
Downtown,
and
did you say?
Downtown. Downtown, yeah. Let's go down to the village and have a look at one in action.
Is it? Oh, let's find some action downtown.
We've spent all morning trying to get into Manali, but the traffic snarls here have to be seen to be believed. Finally, we've taken off on foot. The locals have told us that Vashisht is just 20 minutes by foot, but will take over an hour and a half by road. At this rate, I don't see us making to Manali tonight.
You want to do the zip line? Where is it?
Well, yeah, it looks like you're going straight.
ये है ना भाई?
Straight for the road too.
तो वो क्या है? वशिष्ठ की सड़क वही है?
Perfect.
Shortcut galore.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Get kitted up. Yuan, go here. All set.